So Laura's a part of the Doom Patrol now.
Yeah.
What does that mean for her to be here now instead of the bad guy?
But is she though? Is she the good guy? Wait a minute. Let's not jump to conclusions. We've all got that asshole in our family that we don't like. No, she's obviously in season 4. She comes back and she's now a bona fide member of the Doom Patrol, and which is wonderful because she's finally part of a family which she may have been longing for all of space and time. Thank you very much. So yeah, it's good. It feels good. It feels good to be in the fold.
Will we see a sense of balance between what Madame Rouge thinks is best for her and what's best for the team? Will we see those two ideas conflict a lot?
Good question. Yes, you will. Because at the end of the day, we're all here for ourselves, right? I mean, it's all this, altruistic stuff's all very well, but there may be a moment where, she has to choose. And that's where the challenge of her question of goodness comes about. So, very good question.
But do you think that's maybe a gray area? Because
very gray.
You may think doing what's best for you
Yeah.
might end up being what's best for the team, or is it just purely nefarious?
Well,
knowing it can hurt people?
Yeah, I think she's swimming in the grey right now, and grey is the new black this season.
New series coming.
Yeah.
She and Rita went through a lot together last season. How is their relationship this year, and how are they recovering from those events?
I think there's definitely a base level of respect for each other. I think that Madame Rouge at the beginning is still trying to curry favour with her because, she put her through a lot, if we recall, in season 3 with poor old Malcolm. Didn't like him anyway. And so she's having to gain her trust. And so I think that's interesting, watching Madame Rouge kind of just shift into another gear that isn't necessarily powerful, but is actually looking for some acceptance.
Aside from Rita, who would be a character you'd say this season that there's a real fun relationship between you and?
Oh, I don't know. Can I say that? There is one that I absolutely fell in love with, and I know you guys got but I don't know if I can say.
Oh.
I don't know. No, I can't. I don't know.
So can you tease someone new?
It's someone new. There's a new character.
Is it Casey?
Oh, no. I liked her. She's a great gal. But I didn't actually get to do much with that character. But there is a character that was in another season at some point.
Chief.
Actually, no, but that would have been good.
Yeah, in the comics, they were like,
Take your name down. Deleted. So it's all I can say is it's not a man.
What can you tease about her dynamic with the current team then?
With Rouge and
the current team.
It's interesting because she genuinely is trying to fit in and find her place in the family, and so she's a little on the back foot. She's keen to fight for the family and do what needs to be done to keep her safe. But I love that strain this year. I think that's it's another part of the grey area that means that we're dealing with nuance of character and not generalizations. So she's not just good or bad, she's kind of like,
What does Rouge's presence in Doom Patrol, what does she give to them that she thinks that they're missing?
Oh, good looks. Fabulous looks. A lovely turned ankle and a great jawline.
Well, it really does feel like we just scratched the surface. And what was really interesting is in season 3, we got to see kind of the two sides of her, because when she first introduced, she's figuring out, who am I? And then we see the layers peeled back. So when we catch up in season 4, like, where is she going to be going in terms of finding her footing as a character, and how's that been as an actor, just like getting to dive into all these facets of this character?
There's a point in the season that was kind of heartbreaking for her, which I didn't really realise until I was in the scene, because I generally don't prepare anything. But for me that kind of works, because I know my lines, I've got my costume on, and then something has to happen on the day, right? And if I'm prepared in that way, then I'm open to anything that might happen, right? Energetically. And there was one moment where she really is faced with herself. And there's days when we all have those wake up moments to ourselves, right? And I think in that there's a moment where you choose to loathe yourself, you want to get into self-loathing, or find some empathy for yourself, find some generosity for somebody that's just, I didn't know better, right? But that doesn't make me a bad person. And now I realise that that's not working for me, then it's a choice as to whether you continue to behave like that, or whether you acknowledge it, give yourself a break for it, and move on in a different way. So I think I got there, I think. You'll need to tell me, but I think I got there. Madame Rouge did, I didn't, so work in progress.